Okay, beautiful souls. Today is Monday, March 30th, and I know it's a different day and a different time for us. And so I wanted to just make a recording for all of you this week because on Wednesday, April 1st, I will be starting my vision quest. So I wanted to take a moment to kind of talk about this threshold moment because I feel like a lot of us in this community are in these spaces of uncoiling, unhooking from patterns that once created safety in our bodies. And so we might feel stuck, or we might feel tension. We might get frustrated with ourselves because we have this vision of where we're going, and yet familiar patterns are showing up in our behavior, in our thoughts, in our words, in our attitudes. So I kind of wanted to unpack that a little bit in this mini training for you this week, for you to have, so that as you explore this topic with yourself this week, there is some reference material for you. So let's dive in. All right, so what I really want to talk about more than anything is this what these threshold moments feel like. So like I said, these are moments when life, the old identities of life no longer fit, but the new one quite hasn't landed yet, right? It hasn't. It's not like a big exhale and we go, yes, right? Not yet. We've had moments like that, but not fully. It's not consistent in us yet. And so in these threshold moments, we can have low motivation. We can have pressure in the body. Maybe our emotions are a little all over the place. And we can sometimes have one or both at different times. If these sense of wanting to control everything, getting like hyper vigilant in our environment, in like how life is unfolding in general. Or we can also go into like hermit stage of like, I don't want to be around anybody, right? And I want to just say this out loud. There is nothing wrong with feeling any of this. Okay? I just want that to land for a minute. Okay? We do not need to make a judgment around our feelings when we're in this threshold state. Where I do want to shift our attention to is what is happening in the body. So there's this void happening, right? There's more like, if you like hiking in rivers and you see like rocks across a river, right? We're not the river just yet in this new state of being. We're kind of like hopping on the rocks. So we touch point and we go, oh, okay, yes, I want more of this. And then we're like, oh, crap. We might fall into the river. We don't make the next jump, right? And so to relate this back to the language that we use frequently in the courage circle, right? We're in these moments of freeze, feeling stuck, heavy, or foggy, flight, frustration, and self-judgment. Sorry, that's a fight, where we're in that state of frustration and self-judgment. Or we go in, then we can move into flight, where we distract ourselves and we overthink, we overanalyze. Or we can be in fawn, right? And we start to recap what's happening in our minds, and we share our stories with others. Why? Because we're seeking reassurance that everything's going to be okay. Right? If you've been playing around in the community at all, right? Maybe you've seen the scarecrow, right? And in this case, when we're at these threshold moments in this void space with the nervous system, we might be interacting with scarecrow, right? We might be overthinking. We could be interacting as the lion, right? Just lots and lots of fear. Or we could be the Tin Man and just completely numbing out. But the truth of this is that the unknown is not a problem. It's actually where, when we create the space, this is where our next identity of being is formed. Your old identity is no longer sustainable. And yet, your new identity isn't yet stable. So this isn't a breakdown, and it's not a misalignment. It's us actively actually surrendering to letting go of a hook in our identity that we once cling to. So what's actually happening is a nervous system recalibration. We're dissolving the old patterns, roles, and coping strategies of a previous identity, of an identity that once kept us safe. And so now our nervous system is asking us, if I don't do what I've always done, who am I? And I really want to invite you into that space. Can you identify for yourself who you are? I love how Michael Singer puts this, right? When you stand in front of a mirror and you say hi, are you the person saying hi, or are you the reflection? No. You're the subject. But if you're the subject, what you're seeing is the object. So who is doing the seeing? Breathe into that space and maybe pause the video here for a moment and really feel what you feel. Does that question create tension in you? Does it dismantle a belief that you've been holding on to? Does it cause relief or anxiety? What happens when you sit with that question? That will be a great reference point for where you are in your nervous system, in your expansion, in this threshold moment that you're going through. when we're in this void space, old feedback loops are gone, yet new ones haven't landed. And this is how we create the illusion. The I'm stuck illusion. Because in reality, you're simply unhooking from the past. And here's an even deeper truth. Oftentimes, so often, on this healing journey, we have this belief that, oh, if I become more disciplined, things will shift. If I would just try to outsource so much, and we think that passing through thresholds requires force, and actually they require capacity. We think we can think our way through this next level of us. But actually what needs to happen, what we're being called to by our soul, is to expand our nervous system's sense of safety. And this means that can we increase the number of times where we feel present and in the face of uncertainty, where we are not abandoning ourselves in the in-between space, in the rock hopping. So let's break what our threshold is down. So we can feel a call, right? This is kind of like an activation. There's a restlessness, there's a knowingness that something needs to change. And we might feel that misalignment internally, and we might experience it externally as well. And if we relate this back to our community as a whole, this is kind of like you see the yellow brick road, but you haven't stepped on it yet. Okay? Then we come to an edge, and this is the resistance. This is maybe where you're experiencing fear. You're overthinking. This is a scarecrow moment, right? You may be experiencing doubt. Who am I to do this, right? You might have that saboteur living within you. This might be the lion in you, right? Or you could be avoiding this edge entirely and numbing out. And in which case this would be the avatar of the Tin Man. And this is where most people stay, in this loop. Oh, we go to fear and oh, that scares us, we jump back, right? But I want to invite you into the void. This is actually your initiation. And in this space, you might feel space. You might feel emptiness, slowness, a complete loss of identity. You may experience emotional waves where nothing is quite clicking. This is not failure. In fact, this is what rewiring feels like. And the final phase of a threshold is embodiment. This is true integration, where the new identity stabilizes, where actions feel natural, not forced. And this is where the self-trust deepens. Most people get stuck in that resistance space because they try to rush in to the void. They're like, I need clarity now. How many of us have said that? I will willingly raise my hand and I self-identify with that. I certainly have. Maybe you have too. And then what happens next? We recreate old patterns to create safety. And what this energy is, in fact, is this overworking, this overgiving, this overthinking. Right? Because we're like, I don't know how to navigate emptiness, right? It's like we've never flown in outer space and you're trying to get from Earth to Jupiter. There's a lot of black space. And nobody's going to go through that black space the way that you do, the way that your soul has designed you to navigate. And we can get really scared of that black space. But darkness isn't the enemy. We often, in this black space, abandon ourselves emotionally. And that is what we're being asked to do differently. Instead of collapsing, instead of projecting judgment on self, instead of being frustrated and angry that we're not showing up right. Do you hear the judgment in that statement? Do you hear the anger in that statement? Can we actually just accept the invitation and name the phase that we're in? Oh, I'm in the void. Simply naming it shifts what's happening as the amygdala turns off. Because when we can name the sensation, or the phase, I'm in the void, this alone reduces the perception of the nervous system that there is a threat. And therefore the amygdala turns off. Something else that you can do is regulate before you make a decision. Rather than, what should I do? Try this one out. Can my body feel safe not knowing yet? And can we connect to micro truths? Instead of asking, what's my purpose? What's the next big step? Can you ask yourself what feels true in the next 10%? Another way we create safety and expand our capacity in this void is we stop performing our old identity. Stop forcing productivity. Stop overgiving. A threshold requires us to stop rehearsing the past. Are you willing to surrender the ego that is attached to the past? This past version of yourself. So for our quick practice, just place one hand on your heart and one hand on your low belly. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And I invite you to say, even here, in this void without answers, I am safe. Okay, beautiful souls. Sending you so much love. Enjoy exploring these questions. Share in the comments below what came up for you, where this lands, and as you work with this concept of who I am through this week, as I will be doing the same on the mountain, know that we are unified in our one mind, and no matter how small or big, right? We don't need to judge it. I invite you to experience so many miracles this week as you shift your perception and uncoil yourself from performing past versions of safety. Happy expanding your capacity. Sending you so much love as we hold each other this week. Ciao.